Greetings class, welcome to Duel Academy. Professor Rivas here, and this will be your first lesson of your second class of spells and traps, normal spells. So without further ado, get your deck, get your game on, and let's get started. Remember that a spell card is distinguished by its turquoise border. However, if you've been collecting cards for a while, or maybe you've been given cards from a friend, you may notice that some turquoise border cards say magic card, while others say spell card. So what's the difference between the two? Nothing really. When Konami first started printing cards, spell cards were first known as magic cards. However, Wizards of the Coast, which is the creator of Magic the Gathering, had an issue with that since their cards were called magic cards. So to avoid a lawsuit, Konami changed their magic card to spell cards, and the rest is history. In the example below, you see the fissure card. When it was a magic card, the text read as destroy one opponent's face-up monster with the lowest attack. But as a spell card, it reads as destroy the one face-up monster your opponent controls that has the lowest attack. Your choice if tied. This change of text is known as card errata. When there is a card errata, the effects generally remain the same, but it is usually done to make the effects more clear and or more fair to use. So although the two fissure cards have different wording, it does the same thing. Spell cards can normally be activated only during your main phase and help you out with different effects. Spell cards have many powerful effects, like destroying other cards or strengthening monsters. Save these cards in your hand until you can get the best results out of them. So today's lesson is on normal spell cards. Normal spell cards have single-use effects. To use a normal spell, announce its activation to your opponent, placing it face up on the field. If the activation succeeds, then you resolve the effect written on the card. After resolving the effect, send the card to the graveyard. In the example below, we have two normal spell cards. The first is Upstart Goblin, which states, draw one card, then your opponent gains 1000 life points. The second normal spell is the Warrior Returning Alive, which states, target one warrior type monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. In the game of Duel Monsters, there is something called spell speed. The spell speed of a card applies to monsters, spells, and traps. It is used to determine when a card can be activated and, if or how, it reacts with other cards. There is spell speed 1, spell speed 2, and spell speed 3. Normal spells are classified as spell speed 1. Therefore, it can only be activated during your main phase 1 or main phase 2. They cannot be activated during your opponent's turn. Also, you cannot activate normal spells in response to the activation of a card or effect. In the examples below, you have two more normal spells. The first normal spell is Dark Hole, which states, destroy all monsters on the field. The second normal spell is Reinforcement of the Army, which states, add one level 4 or lower warrior type monster from your deck to your hand. A demo has been created to show how to use a normal spell. The following cards will be used. Celtic Guardian, which is a level 4 Earth warrior type monster with 1400 attack and 1200 defense. Beaver Warrior, which is a level 4 Earth Beast warrior monster with 1200 attack and 1500 defense. The Warrior Returning Alive, which is a normal spell that states, select one warrior type monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And Axe Raider, which is a level 4 Earth warrior type monster with 1700 attack and 1150 defense. In this demo, your opponent has one card in their hand and Celtic Guardian on their side of the field in attack mode. You have the Warrior Returning Alive and Beaver Warrior in your hand, along with Axe Raider in your graveyard. If you'd like, you can pause the lesson to see if you can come up with a strategy to defeat the opponent's Celtic Guardian. First off, you have Beaver Warrior in your hand with 1200 attack. which isn't strong enough to defeat Celtic Guardian's 1400. However, you can do this play. During your main phase 1, activate the Warrior Returning Alive and bring Accelerator from the graveyard to your hand. Since the Warrior Returning Alive resolved its effect, it goes to the graveyard. Then, you can normal summon Accelerator from your hand to the field. With this setup, you can destroy your opponent's Celtic Guardian with your Accelerator and deal 300 points of life point damage to your opponent. In the following demo, the following cards will be used. We will still be using Celtic Guardian, Beaver Warrior, and Accelerator from the previous demo. However, we now have Dark Magician, a level 7 Dark Spellcaster with 2500 attack and 2100 defense. Dark Hole, which is a normal spell that states, destroy all monsters on the field. An Alligator Sword, which is a level 4 Earth Beast monster with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. In this demo, your opponent has one card in their hand, along with Beaver Warrior, Dark Magician, Accelerator, and Celtic Guardian on their side of the field. You have no monsters on the field, and Dark Hole and Alligator Sword in your hand. If you'd like, pause the lesson to see if you know how to turn the tide and cause some battle damage. It seems like your Alligator Sword is strong enough to destroy your opponent's Beaver Warrior or Celtic Guardian, but it can only attack once per turn, and it would be destroyed by your opponent's Dark Magician or Accelerator next turn. However, during your main phase 1, you can activate Dark Hole from your hand, which destroys all monsters on the field. Since you have no monsters on your side of the field, you're safe, but your opponent isn't. With the field clear, you can normal summon Alligator Sword, go into battle phase, and do some serious damage. As you can see, the effect of one spell card can shift the momentum of the duel in your favor, which is why although monsters are important, make sure you have spell cards in your deck as well. Thank you so much for attending this class. There will be a quiz on this lesson, so don't forget to take it. I hope you have a great day, and class dismissed.